Don't you just love the detail on some pieces of spongeware? Can you see the pattern around the lid of this rather lovely foot warmer, which I found at my last dump dig? Here is embossing. Some parts of it look very Art Nouveau. And this looks like repeat Celtic pattern. And this piece, which is the end of the foot warmer, looks like a flower. Now this particular find is a future craft for me. This was found separately from this piece. I found this piece yesterday and I found this a few days ago. So I'm just going to give you a close-up and then a medium shot. Now this piece at the end here will be one of my crafts. So I'll grind that down. Let me just show you the end. Using either a Dremel or a larger tool. And stick this rather beautiful knob on the end as the glaze colours match. So that's a perfect upcycle for me. Now I have cleaned this twice and there still is some rust marking on it, but being a bit of a purist I don't want to spray it to make it whiter than white, so I will leave it like this and work on it again over a period of time and try and clean some of this rust off with different cleaning products. But as I say, it's a rather lovely piece. Happy to have it. There you go. Very nice. And what's this? It's a broken teapot lid. But it's not just any teapot lid, it's a Wedgwood teapot lid. And the character on the top is a widow like myself. The widow of Zarephath. Rather beautiful. I do know who made it. It's Wedgwood, but easily missed when you're not really into the history of the finds. I did do some research on this and I have to say I call these my little spooks, but they're actually very beautiful craftsmanship from Wedgwood round about 1860, so you're in the mid 19th century. So there you are, it's just come up rather nice, and I now have a collection of these. Some of them, each of the finials on them are slightly different. So another collection, and I'm always interested in detail. So there you are, isn't she wonderful? I think the answer is yes. A lovely little pork pie ink. And I do have a particular fondness for stoneware, as most bottle diggers do. There you go, isn't that lovely? I particularly like the glazes on these pieces, as I do on the Wedgwood pieces. Some people may be thinking, oh, they're all brown, but I think they're particularly special. Yesterday we found, and by we I mean myself and my friend who isn't a YouTuber, a beautiful buff coloured stoneware, thick walls, absolutely stunning it was. So there you are, 3 little pieces. I'll maybe show you the other Wedgwood. And there she is. Just that bit different again. I think it was the Wedgwood Potter's little joke. Each of these is really quite individual, and I'm happy to find them. And again, it's broken, but I did find the other half of this lid. It doesn't really have to be whole because it's this here that I love. Look at the detail, absolutely stunning. 19th century Wedgwood. But it's just an old lid, some people were saying. Well, you know, to me, as a trained artist, trained in graphics and interactive web design, and of course television and operation and production. So there you are. Here we go, just an aside there, but you know, I have to add to what I'm telling you. So here, these pieces fit together. So craft 2. Not rocket science craft, just a little bit of glue, a little bit of sanding, and you can always do kintsugi, but you know, YouTube's full of kintsugi. I do love them. So far we have a pork pie inkwell, a Victorian bed warmer, and 2 little spooks. I do have more of these, and over time I shall reveal them to you. I do like finding bits of pottery, and most people will recognise this as part of the scene of the willow pattern. You have part of the blossom tree and you have the pagoda, and you have some of the water here. It looks like water to me, and on the back we have a small maker's mark, and it says spode. So nice piece of spode. It can be worked on. Dump pottery isn't the same as the sea glass pottery, I find. It's sharp, it's not rounded, and it doesn't have that smoothness to it. But this is rather nice, and can be shaped to any shape you like, and the master of that craft at the moment is Ribble Finds and Crafts. So if you haven't seen his craft videos where he makes these lovely pendants which he distributes to other channels and mudlarkers to give away, then go and take a look at his wonderful crafts. Lovely detail, but as you know, willow pattern is very common and has its own particular story, its own particular characters, and its own particular charm. One of the other things I like to find are detailed pieces, figurines of porcelain. And as you can see here, there is a lot of detail, not only in the hair but in the folds of the clothes on this one. And I found him a few days ago in the same way as I found this bottle warmer, and stuck at the top separately. I found him, and then a few days later I found some of his legs. He still has his boot or shoe missing on this side, and the front of this piece missing. So what I'll do is I'll do another craft, which is basically putting a piece of glue on here, sticking it together, and making him like that lovely little statue that he once was. I do like white pieces. I do like to see them being reassembled. I prefer them to coloured pieces, and believe that these white unpainted pieces are older. So there he is, a lovely little character found over a few days and soon to be resurrected. Some of the other things I like to find are things to do with little cruet sets or dolls' houses, and this is a lovely little lid that could go in either a cruet set or a doll's house lid. So there you are. And sometime in the near future I'll show you all the doll parts that I have. I am in the process of cleaning my finds, particularly the bottles, because I'm not really a bottle person, but some do appeal to me. Now this is a particularly lovely colour. Because I don't plan to sell anything, I do take bottles that are in a bad state of repair, sometimes, if the colour is right. So there you are, beautiful teal, thick teal at the bottom, and a lighter teal towards the top. Now this is a burst lip bottle, but I particularly like the colour, and as I say, I'm still in the process of cleaning them. Not the nicest job in the world, but the nicest thing in the world is to see them cleaned up and looking swish. So I'm just going to give you a recap again and move on to one of the next finds. So this is it so far. A foot warmer, pork pie ink, 2 wedge woods, a little piece of spode, a figure, a lovely teal bottle, and either a cruet set lid or for a doll's house. And most bottle diggers are pleased to find printed pieces of this kind of ceramic stoneware pottery. This particular one is a plum tree, potted meat of Southport, and if you look just in there, here's where the history comes in. It was on Railway Street. So I'm going to look up, for my own amusement, Railway Street in Southport, because I do like to do a bit of research, and the next piece I am going to show you is a piece of research I did. Was very surprised and very, 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 very disappointed. Right, so who do I have here? It's somebody called Baden Powell. Now, some of you may now think that he's a wonderful man and that he started the Scout movement, which he did, but on further reading, he is not a nice man at all. He was a fascist sympathiser, had meetings with Hitler. He ultimately ended up on the Nazi hit list for some of his activities, and he was also hailed as a hero of the Boer War. Now, on my reading of what his actions were in the Boer War, especially at a place called Mafeking, he was actually responsible for a massacre. So, not impressed with Baden-Powell at all. We do like to think of the scouting movement as a positive influence on our young people, and I think there is also talk about him having his statue removed that sits in a lovely seaside town. So, what do you think? Baden-Powell, yes or no? The Scout movement is an international movement now, and they do some positive work, but I would not like to think that Baden-Powell's influence figured too highly in that anymore, now that we live in the 21st century and should know better. So there you are, Baden-Powell, Nazi sympathiser and massacring of people in South Africa, with particular reference to what we now call Zimbabwe. We've moved on from colonialism, and we've moved on from people that have apologist politics. So Baden-Powell, no thank you. International scouting movement, yes please. And it could be actually that some of the conceptual structure of the scouting movement, of which he founded, fed into the Hitler Youth. If you'd like to comment on these historical musings and thoughts on this man who's appearing on this clay pipe with his patriotic symbolism, then please feel free to leave a comment and say what you think. It's a free country, we're told. Thank you. Another piece of Scottish spongeware with a cogwheel or flower design on it. Nice banding here. I do like to collect the ridge and the tops of bowls and things like that, because it's one of those things that help you identify your piece. These can be in different colours and therefore indicate the country of origin, as it was made extensively in not only Scotland, although I think this piece is Scottish, not only in Scotland but England, Wales and most of the Western world. There you go. So yes, spongeware identified by these colours rather than the patterns. So I'll just put that down in amongst the little selection of finds so far. Let's see how that looks. Not bad. This is a smaller spongeware than usual. I usually find the large pouring inks complete, but this had a little blemish on the top here. But as you can see, there's two lovely bands, and this piece can easily be sanded down and some kind of decoration put on there. Because I'm a trained graphic artist, I could also, if I so wished, print on here, paint on here. It's not all rocket science, but being a conceptual artist is the difficult part. The original ideas. I don't have any difficulty with it, but perhaps others do. So, originality is usually the key to art. I rather like this little stoneware. It's very, very small. As you can see, I'll put it down next to the pipe to let you see it to scale. Not much bigger than the pipe, and I consider it to be a lovely, lovely little ink. So there you are, a tiny spongeware, unusual size, and ooh, there's a lovely face to look at. So I thought I would just do this last tiny bit of the roundup, telling you how pleased I am to be a native Fifer. How pleased I am to have a native Fife accent. How pleased I am to be actually Scottish, and how pleased I am to be a published Fife historian and trained artist. I do hope you enjoy this content, and I think I'll leave you with this little broken person here, soon to be fixed. Have fun, and also pay attention to all the things that people are finding, and do a bit of research yourself, as is the case with this Baden Powell pipe. Good God. Honestly, what a beast. Now, as a writer, I do like inkwells. I have had books published on the history of Fife, particular towns in Fife, and I am proud of that fact, which I achieved before the age of 30. Now, this particular inkwell is a rather nice ice blue, and it was a welcome find. So there you are, one lovely inkwell from a Fife writer, and just look at that colour. So thank you for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and leave a comment. I like to know what people think. Here you go. Lovely.